Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Search Podcast. I'm Elliot Manning, the Managing Director of Kayman Recruitment, UK and US markets. Today I am joined by Olly Thompson from GQR, who I've known for quite some time, has been involved in our golf days with Kayman as well. We had a round of golf ourselves actually a few weeks ago just to catch up at the same time. It's good to keep, networking in this market and keep in touch with everybody, I suppose. But Olly, if you want to introduce yourself, mate.
Of course, mate. Thank you. And yeah, unfortunately, he beat me on the day. I think he had the round of his life.
Yeah.
Olly Thompson, Senior Vice President at GQR, head up our technology division here for London. We focus primarily or exclusively really on the financial services market, 95% of that being with hedge funds. So core focus on software engineering into hedge funds.
Amazing, mate. Amazing. So how long have you been at the firm for now? How long have you been in recruitment? Tell me a little bit about your background and story for those listening.
Yeah, for sure. So graduated university in 2016, joined GQR. So it's my 4-year anniversary back in June. So I've been there just over 4 years now. Been a great journey. Joined in technology straight away. Wanted to be a trader when I was at university. I think everyone had the pipe dream. It was law or trading for me. Quite focused on career and ended up sort of coming past GQR and having the opportunity to work in the trading world, but in recruitment. So joined as a sort of associate consultant, working with investment banks and hedge funds. And I guess the last 3 years has been really on a fun, exciting journey. Building my way up through the recruitment ladder as most do. Had some really, really fun years, hired some great people, and now in a position 4 years later where our strategy is much more well defined. We work with a small number of clients, and we're in a really, really good position. Obviously, amazing. COVID has been a bit of an interesting period, but
we'll come to that in a bit. That's a whole subject in itself, isn't it? So tell me something. I've not actually spoken or had anyone on the podcast that's come straight out of university, joined a company in recruitment, and been there for this long to work their way up in the business, which is really an achievement in itself. But first, before we touch on that, you wanted to be going to law or trading. How did recruitment come about? How did GQR fall in your lap?
Yeah, a very well-written job spec, I think. Yeah. As most recruitment firms do. No, I think like my family's either professional sports or sales. It's always been one of the two. And unfortunately, I've just been on the slightly heavy side of the weight, so fell into the sales category. But yeah. I think for anyone coming into recruitment, this isn't the sort of job that you come into trying to make a quick buck. It really is a long-term career, and I held my career in such high regard that I wanted to, have the fancy title. Wanted to, I saw law and trading as being two really highly rewarding, but also nice sounding careers. And so always wanted to go down that route. And GQR came about when looking for trading opportunities because the spec was worded in the way where you'd be working with and for trading firms, finding them talent. And so I had the conversation with them, and from day one, it really just sort of changed my perception of what recruitment was. I didn't know about it at the time. I didn't go to university saying I wanted to be a recruiter, as I'm sure many people haven't. But from the day I joined, I realized that, this is so much more well suited to me than I ever thought it would be. And what I've been able to do is match a natural skill that I have, that I've always had through growing up, been the sort of confident one, love business, love sales, with my own interest in trading and the trading environment. And so it's pieced it together really, really well. Been able to really develop on that. And I really enjoyed it.
Amazing, mate. Fine. So led you to where you are now, obviously, managing a team and having, been a successful biller as well in the company there. I mean, tell us a bit about kind of, your journey of, being an individual contributor, billing really, really well, to now having more responsibility and still having to bill really well and trying to juggle both.
It's been an interesting ride. I think I've been challenged. I think I've been really put to the test, but I've also been so fortuitous in my 4 years, in the sense that, 1.5, 2 years into my career, I was lucky enough to perform well enough to see back-to-back promotions and put myself into an associate vice president role where you have the ability to lead teams. At that time, was given the responsibility to lead a team at a young age. And from there, really, my natural passion for leading teams, I think when I first joined recruitment, I thought, you can make a lot of money here, and it was all about individual money. And I think as you grow, some people take slightly longer, but within my explicit 2 years at GQR, that really gave me a really raw experience of what recruitment is, but a really fortuitous one.
Yeah.
It made me realize that, my motivation isn't just to make as much money as possible in a short amount of time. It really is the larger picture. So took on team responsibilities. Obviously, with 2-3 years experience, you're not expected just to become hands off. And so even to this day, I'm as hands on as everyone else alongside me. But it was such a test to have to manage, looking after, because we hire, people from university. These are people that are, for graduates, you're looking at someone who is probably telling their parents, I've just finished my degree and I've just got my first job, and their career in their first 6 months is in your hands, right? So to get them to where they need to be, to put them in a position where the platform that you've built for them is allowing them to make money, but also giving them the opportunity to try and chase you, catch up with you, and sort of jump ahead of you, which is sort of what we want from everyone. So it's been tough. I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. Fortunately, we've got like a ridiculous learning and development program here, which is just really, I got put on a 13-month leadership program from the minute I stepped into leadership. Tasmin, Matt Bennett, they've done so much for us all. And so, now I'm not reading, the Harry Potters of the world. I'm reading the Stephen Coveys and the Dan Pinks and, the Elon Musks and anyone in there that can really inspire me and teach me more about how to lead, how to grow. And yeah, like I say, 4 years on for me, leaving university, I'm a different man completely now. I'm not just a salesman who wants to make money. I'd like to think, I've sort of developed this well-rounded skill to sort of build an empire within our team. So
amazing,
mate, so exciting. It's been awesome.
So when did you realize, and at what point of your journey there did you think, do you know what, I'm ready to take on a management responsibility, I'm ready to hire to get people to work for me? Who did they tell you that you're supposed to do that now, or was it you?
I mean, it all happened so fast. Like I say, that I've been like really fortunate in the sense that things have gone well. I mean, you've definitely have your ups and downs in recruitment, but
yeah,
if you reflect on the 4 years to have sort of a promotion year on year, it means that for myself, I felt like if I didn't take on that natural progression myself, then I'd sort of be slowing myself down slightly. And so the first opportunity I had in promotion, where you could lead a team, I wanted to explore it. That's just been my natural ambition to sort of explore that. I like to think that I've always been a sort of leadership type person. But GQR fortunately supported me. We always identified that, I think every single person I've hired, every single person has been older than me, I think, since and so you have to identify the elephant in the room, which is you're a young leader. Some people put it past them and say, no, it doesn't matter. You have to identify that, right? Everyone has their flaws. And for me, I had to hire people that knew that I was going on a journey myself at the time, 2 years into the business, but hopefully they also realized that my only aim, my only goal was for us to become better as a team, right? And it wasn't about me and myself, it was about growing. So it works well.
Really interested to dig a bit more on that, if you don't mind, mate. Just in terms of like you as a young leader, you've got people that work for you who are older than you. Does that sort of give you, how does that make you feel, just in that position? Because a lot of people in that role in other businesses might find that a little bit daunting. They might find it a little bit, they're never going to listen to me. They're not going to respect me. They're older than me, and they start to take the age kind of route in that sense. But, have you do you feel like you've had to do it through kind of proving your worth in terms of billing? How have you got around that?
I think I've been so lucky. I think everyone I've ever spoken to, no one's ever put it on me. And I think, it may be down to having the conversations with them at interview stage, maybe before they know my background, and, them having an idea and an impression of me before they realize, how old he is or how much years of experience he has. And I think by that point, I'd hope that they see past the age and realize that, the person I've spoken to that I've hopefully been impressed by is someone I want to work for, no matter how old they are, how young they are. But I've been so lucky. I mean, in terms of how it makes me feel, a lot more responsibility on my shoulders, because, we're hiring people that have worked for 2 or 3 different companies, and that, they're not here out of university seeing if it's right for them. Like, this is their career, right? They want to absolutely go for it. And so there's a huge responsibility for me not to let them down. But listen, the maturity levels on my side have gone through the roof since working with some really, really extraordinary people. I'm fortunate enough that the people in my team are honestly just awesome people. I love every one of them. Brilliant. They've taught me a lot about myself, and hopefully I've sort of passed back some knowledge as well.
Love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Ollie, tell me, how's the, so it's kind of the next subject side of it. How's the last 6 months been for you in terms of
Oh,
like,
once the COVID.
yeah, the COVID thing, the management around that as well, trying to drive yourself mentally and, performance wise, as well as your team at the same time, isn't it? A bit more pressure on your shoulders, or has it been quite laid back or?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the word laid back should ever be used during this period. I don't think anyone's experienced that. I'm sure
Yep,
you guys are the exact same.
of course.
Listen, we work in the finance industry, so it's impacted the finance industry hard. For half of our market, it's impacted them ridiculously positively, and the other half, they've had to really reassess their strategies and they have had to take a step back. So for us personally as a team, I was never aware of the word, or I'd never experienced firsthand the whole mental health thing. I've had such a positive and great upbringing. I've had such a strong support system around me, and it's the first time that you hear about mental health. You hear about like stress and all these things, and it really comes to light when you're thrown into a situation. For me, this is my first economic downfall. I wasn't in recruitment in 2008, and so this is the first time I've seen this financial crash. And my God, does it put a strain on you? And so I think, when it first happened through March, April, I don't think I left my desk until minimum 11 o'clock at night, every single night. And I live with my missus, and, she was really sort of, she's almost coming down the stairs 2 or 3 times a night saying like, are you going to come up now? And it's like, well, I can't, like, there's so much that we need to do here. And fortunately for me, GQR, we have such a defined strategy. Our market strategy, what we focus on, we're so defined because we want to make sure that we take as much market share as possible within each of our markets. That when it comes to COVID, we had to broaden up our horizons and say, we had to re-strategize, had to virtually sit down as a team because we couldn't do it face to face, and completely flip our strategy and say, how are we going to get through this, as opposed to what looks good on paper as a strategy. It's like, no, we need to make sure we come through this. And we have weekly conversations with our CEOs, and they, a lot of recruitment firms out there have struggled. A lot of recruitment firms have let people go, put people on furlough, and it's horrible to hear about it. And the amount of applicants we've had has been through the roof, which has actually been more upsetting more than anything else to see how many people are in that position. But through it all, we've had 50% increase year on year through Q1, Q2. And it's come from us, luckily, having these relationships with clients and being able to quickly adapt to the market and realize who is hiring, who really needs us, being upfront with everyone and saying, listen, half of our clients have had to reassess that they're not completely moving hiring out of the way, but they're just dropping it down the priority list to make sure that they can focus on stabilizing and getting money back where it needs to be. So if you are hiring, you're going to have me, like, we're here for you. Like, I will work till 11, 12 o'clock at night every night if you guys do need to hire. And I think everyone, for the first time ever, was all in the same boat, right? Every single recruitment company, every single finance company, our clients, our candidates, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone was like, we all don't know what's happened here, but we all just need to support ourselves, support our careers, support our businesses. And I think we're one of the lucky ones in recruitment where we've come out on top. Good. But it's come through working late nights. It's come through ripping your hair out, getting grey hairs, which I didn't think I'd get this early on. And like I say, touching on that mental health thing, it's put everyone at such a stress that people have had to take days off. And luckily we've supported that, but It's been crazy. Yeah.
And have you kind of learned a lot more about your team, I'm assuming, and the people that work around you, and, have put yourself in a position where you've been able to build a better relationship with your staff, trying to push them through this as well? I find that a lot of leaders at the minute have really got a lot closer to their teams and have really kind of learned a lot more about them during all this.
Yeah, I think you and I are the same from speaking to you. Like, I know how much you care about your guys over at Kayman, and you know a lot about them. It's more of like a community and a friendship, as well as an office. Within my direct team of ETT, as well as the office, we're not a huge 100, 200 person office, but we all know each other really well. We're all really close. But yeah, I think through this time, it's allowed us to try and be honest with each other, tell us what we're struggling with, tell us about in and out of office situations and stuff. And yeah, we certainly learned a lot more about each other than we normally have done. And it's taken a bit of time for us to all open up and get to that point. But now reflecting back and seeing that we've come through the first hurdle, it's great to reflect and say, you know what, we actually did fight our way through that, and look at us now. Yeah.
Good. Right. What's the plan now till the end of the year? Where do you sort of set your sights, mate? What's your future looking like in your team, and what you're trying to achieve?
think I need a holiday, mate. Really,
Yeah.
I think I need a rest, but
Yeah.
it's not coming. Listen, we've got a really interesting hiring plan. We are in a position at the moment, fortunately, through the last 2 years, it hasn't taken a halt for the last 6 months, but we've had to sort of adjust. But we've always been in a position where we said, if we build our key pillars of senior people in our team, we're ready to grow and dominate. We're ready to get to the point where our team can go from 4 or 5 people to 10, 15 people, because we've got that support system, as I mentioned at the start, where you bring in someone like a graduate with less experience, and they're not coming onto a platform where it's like, you need to cold call this, it's a cold desk. Like, we've got a business that's thriving. You just need to come in and plug and play. And so we're looking for 1 or 2 more hires to finalize that top end of the sort of pyramid or the structure to really sort of stabilize it.
Sure.
And then early next year, it's going to be in a position where we're really going to try and grow, develop, and start taking on our markets and go from, 10, 15% market share to sort of 20, 30% in 2021, 2022. So
Fantastic.
It's a huge challenge, but looking forward to it.
Good stuff. And what do you want to see from the people that you're looking to hire for your team? What, for those that might be listening in or that may know someone that's looking, what do you need at your, in your business?
Yeah. Audaciousness.
Yep.
I think you look at recruitment now, and a lot of people, there's no book to read in recruitment. Like, you'll know it yourself. You can't just learn recruitment in a day. It comes from years and years of experience. But the way that you can really immerse yourself in a market like ours specifically, it's so hard to pick up technically. You just need to put yourself out there more so than anyone else, right? I've come through a really fortunate path where I have been dropped in the deep end and said, go and sort of swim. And I've fortunately, through tough and hard work, come out and it's worked well for me. And so I can reflect and say, you know what, throw yourself out there. 6 weeks into your career at university, go and meet with managing directors or CTOs of these firms. And, you should be telling them that, you've got years of experience and, you are new to this, but you're going to help them more than anyone else in this market. Throw yourself out there, be ambitious, be adventurous, be accountable, but more than anything else, be audacious. We've got the structure to help people out. We've got people that can teach you, can coach you on the way, but it needs that inner drive, that inner will in order to get there. It's the skill versus will model, a very simple sort of diagram that we use, but we can help you on the skill, but you need that will.
Fine. And what would you advise on a kind of more of a final note, anyone looking to join recruitment and, work their way up in a business, just like you have in a space of 4 years? Obviously you've been, privileged to work in such a good company that's been able to allow you to do that. But, someone that's been in recruitment for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and they're trying to push towards that goal. What's got you there, and what would you suggest to them that they try and focus on?
Yeah. Focus on your circle of influence, not your circle of concern. I think it's the main thing. There's so many things in this world that can distract you from what really matters, and make sure that both in your work life, but also your personal life, that circle of influence is the only thing you focus on daily. Organization and time management is a critical part of recruitment. I think everyone will realize it at some, even as leadership, even, my directors and CEOs will say that's one of the major parts of it. Make sure you work in a market that you love and you believe in. You need to make sure that recruitment's for you first. You need to understand that there are going to be very high highs, very low lows. And if you're willing to use this as an opportunity to maybe not get a work-life balance in your first year or two, but have that longer-term work-life balance where you give yourself the opportunity to retire in your 40s rather than your 50s or your 60s. If you're willing to go on that journey, if you're willing to really throw yourself into the deep end and you're passionate about the market you work in, you'll be fine. Just find the platform that supports you, allows you to grow the way you are. Luckily, I've got biasly, but probably the best boss in the world that I could be working with in Cash Shamiri. He's unbelievable what he does. He's a friend, he's a colleague, he's a boss, he's everything. So find people you love working with, find a platform you think you can grow on, be passionate about the market you work in. And no matter who comes, no matter who goes, if that's the right platform for you, you'll be okay.
Amazing, mate. So I'm just making a quick note of that because a lot of the stuff you're saying, I just, love it. And I'm just definitely going to make sure I quote it as well, which leads me to the next point that when I put this out, Olly, to the, market of social media, they're going to be able to contact you directly and ask you any questions that that they may have for you. If anyone's interested in working with you, to reach out to you, I'm going to make sure I tag you in it. And GQR as a business, for those that don't know the business really well, they're global, they're massive, and their reputation, says enough in itself. Just check it out. You can see it all online. Aside from that, Olly, mate, like, this has been so good to hear. you know, the last 4 years for you is only, you know, has been amazing, and it's only going to get better by the sounds of it. And having met you and spoken to you and played around a golf with you, you know, on a more of a personal level, you know, you've got a hell of a, you know, future ahead of you, mate. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, how that turns out as well. But it's been a pleasure to work with you and know you as well, Ollie. So, any questions for anyone, reach out, let me know, speak to Ollie directly. But Ollie, mate, thank you very much for your time on this.
Love it, El. Thanks a lot, mate. And everyone else, make sure you get over to Kayman as well. These guys are great. And El is, if he's as good as a recruiter as he is a golfer, then you'll be in good hands.
Good stuff. I'm glad to hear it. We'll get another round in soon for sure.
Yeah, when we find the time.
Exactly. Go on, mate. Well, listen, have a good day, mate. And we'll definitely catch up soon.
Cheers, mate.
You take care. See you now.